Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wayne Bowen. I'm the program manager with the Pennsylvania Recycling Market Center, and welcome to the webinar titled Strategic Recycling Program, an Introduction and Overview. With me today, we have Winnie Okello from PennDOT's SEMP section, and she's the Strategic Recycling Program Manager. So we'll get started. A couple housekeeping items. If you would, please, if you have someone else with you today viewing the presentation, I'd appreciate if you just type in the dialog box, either under the questions or the chat feature, all the people who are with you today. We just want to track everybody who's in attendance today, so I appreciate that. So we're going to get into the presentation now. This is our agenda. We're going to first start out. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Pennsylvania Recycling Market Center, who we are and what we do, and how our relationship works with PennDOT, particularly the Strategic Recycling Program. And then we're going to turn it over to Winnie, and she'll be talking about the program itself. And then during her presentation, we'll do a quick slide of mine that outlines some of the projects that we've worked with in the past and currently that involve recycled materials and transportation. So this is a little bit about the Pennsylvania Recycling Market Center. We were established by Penn State Harrisburg and its partners in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we are a nonprofit corporation that is affiliated with Penn State University. We get most of our funding from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, through the State Recycling Fund. And we have currently 7 employees with 2 part-time positions, and we always hire students from the campus. Currently we have 1 on staff, but sometimes we have as many as 3 working with us. And like I said, we're located at the Penn State Harrisburg campus, and we do have a satellite office in Pittsburgh. We're co-located with the Steel Recycling Institute. And we do operate under a 9-member board of directors. Our mission is to expand and develop more and secure and robust markets for recovered materials by helping overcome market barriers and inefficiencies. So we basically help companies make stuff out of recycled materials. We can help them with their any research needs of their product, any testing. We can help with their marketing plans, their business planning, workforce development. We use the resources of the university and others to do any applied research. And of course, getting the product to market is the key goal through accelerated commercialization. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Winnie, and she's going to talk about the SRP program.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Winnie Okello calling in from the SEMP section here at Central Office, and I'm the Strategic Recycling Program Manager here. And for our portion of the webinar, our quick overview is we'll kind of give a quick historical macro view of what the SRP is, kind of like our beginnings, all the way to some of our program details, as well as opportunities for tracking and recycling, both from a municipal activities perspective, as well as design and construction projects, as well as any regulatory requirements that we use that we're required to meet to be in compliance with any of the DEP and EPA requirements. And also do a quick introduction of the statewide mapping tool, which was created by the RMRC, which is the Recycled Materials Resource Center out of University of Wisconsin-Madison, to the Pooled Fund Studies program. And so also talk a little bit about any funding opportunities that you or other project managers that you may be working with, how you could get some SRP funding for your projects. So that's always good. And close out with some Q&A session. Next.
Okay, Wendy, before we move on, I just forgot to mention, if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, something that needs clarification, you can type in a question in the dialog box, and maybe we can address that question or concern right away. Otherwise, we'll hold off the questions to the end. Again, you can use the dialog box to type in your question. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, so for the SRP, the Strategic Recycling Program, came about through a memorandum of understanding with PADP. And so basically it established a way to implement a waste reduction program for the materials that PennDOT uses both in construction projects and the design phase of speccing out recycled materials, as well as any municipal activities, so anything like, taking care of waste tires, glass material, cardboard and other paper and all that stuff. All that is covered under the SRP activities and reviews. And we also aim to continue review and revise any existing procedures and specifications that PennDOT requires for any of its projects, as well as evaluating future materials that could be reused and recycled in transportation and civil engineering applications. And also we help out with contracting aspects of making sure that we're bidding out the correct items and assisting the project managers to bid out and have the right coding for their funding that we give them. Next. The SRP was developed in 1998 as a tool to systematically identify, evaluate, and implement the recycling opportunities throughout Pennsylvania, specifically within the DOT. And our main objectives, again, are to basically realize any economic savings and environmental enhancements to PennDOT as well as the Commonwealth, as well as to continue developing and providing improvement to pollution prevention, which is covered under the SENP, the Strategic Environmental Management Program, which is where the SRP is housed under here in central office. And so we are always, encouraging recycling opportunities and energy efficiency alternatives in all activities, which obviously always, typically results in cost savings as well to the department, which is good, very good. And we're always, encouraging sound environmental management practices throughout all of PennDOT's activities. Next. So our 5 key focus areas for the SRP are research, specifications, projects, outreach, and contracting. And basically what that means is, we are always looking for new research projects, new research ideas that you may be looking into. And this is usually actually where people try to get a little interesting and think outside the box in trying to meet funding needs as well for any projects that they have coming up. And one of them that we'll kind of talk a little bit about is the upcoming hot-in-place recycling projects for District 10 and 11. And so we're always looking for new research projects, whether we can do them internally or contract them out or suggest them to our partner groups, which is, as we have here, the RMC or the RMRC out of University of Wisconsin-Madison. We're also always looking to either update, revise, or create new specifications for new recycled materials implementations, as well as new processes that we may have. So as long as it deals with the use of recycled materials, we are definitely interested, and we welcome any new suggestions you may have. We're also always encouraging and look to support new demonstration projects that we may have that implement recycled materials in PennDOT projects. And always, this is one of the ways where we conduct our outreach to help inform, our district personnel as well as our central office folks to let them know, hey, this is what the SRP does. We welcome any collaboration efforts that you may have and any ideas for research projects. And if you have a contracting need, with the funds that we have appropriated, we always welcome that as well. Next. And so throughout the history of the SRP, we have a few approved specifications currently. And so here are a few of them. We have recycled asphalt pavement, hot-in-place recycling, which is the hot item right now for us. We have crushed glass specs, asphalt shingles, blast furnace slag, some fly ash, bottom ash, scrap tires, geofoam, and compost. And so we're always looking to add new materials as they come up, as new processes come up. You know, I know we did quite a few gap graded projects for recycled waste tires, as well as any crumb rubber material. Basically, as long as you're trying to reintroduce and implement a recycled material or a new recycling process into your construction or your maintenance activities, you know, we are here to help with that. Next.
Okay, this is a quick slide of what the Recycling Market Center has done in the past and currently with regard to involving recycled materials in transportation projects. So, as you know, this event here is part of our programming with the Recycling Market Center, and obviously we're partnered with PennDOT on it. But some other programming things we've done in the past related to transportation, we've in the past we held a day-long manufactured soils seminar that was run by some faculty from Penn State. The event was held in Berks County at Ridgewood Soils, who's a composter, a mulch producer, and an engineered soils blender. And we did some hands-on work at that seminar. The facility right next to it is called PRC, the Process Recovery Corporation. They're the folks that take foundry sands and recycle them and incorporate them into various projects and applications, including manufactured soil. In the past, we've done at least 5 webinars that focused on using recycled materials in transportation projects. The National Recycling Coalition Sustainable Materials Management webinar series is an international program. Actually, we've had attendees from all 50 states, 10 Canadian provinces, South America, China, the Mideast, a lot of the territories, Virgin Islands, for example. So it's a very successful program, and we reached out to, I believe, almost 10,000 people so far with that program. So we've done webinars on glass in transportation projects, the crumb rubber, use of compost. I think we featured someone from the Texas DOT, and I believe Texas is one of the largest users of compost in the country. I think they're second to the California DOT. We've done one on post-consumer asphalt shingles in asphalt mixes, and one that focused on residual wastes used in transportation projects like slags and foundry sands and so forth. So very successful outreach program that we've been doing probably for, I think, 4 years now. Down to the individual types of materials, we've worked with glass. We had a master's degree candidate from Penn State Harrisburg work on concrete, specifically using recycled glass in concrete. And his research focus was on the alkali-silica reaction. For those who may be familiar with that, that reaction basically weakens the concrete. So keeping silica out of the concrete is key. But there are methods of mitigating that reaction through things like fly ash, and some certain metals can mitigate that effect. So there's a nice research paper done on that. We're working with material recovery facilities, or the recycling facilities that process the cans and bottles from your curbside recycling program. That process creates a lot of waste glass that can't be recycled back into a bottle. So a lot of these MRFs have these big mountains of this broken glass on a pile. So what they're looking at is developing specs that meet the PennDOT 702 and 703, which is the coarse and fine aggregate spec. The fine aggregate spec actually meets DEP's requirement for sand mounds, septic systems. So doing that gradation and screening and testing and making that a viable product for sand mounds is really important in getting these piles reduced. And there's also, as Winnie said, a specification for glass in in road construction, and particularly pipe bedding and backfill. I think that's a number 8 AASHTO spec that needs to be met there. So another option for these material recovery facilities to meet and find a use for that material. Moving down to rubber, we've worked with Air Products. We helped fund a research project on a cryogenic crumb rubber processing uh, study, and I'm not sure how that turned out. That was quite a long time ago, but I know cryogenics is used quite often for scrap tire processing. Um, we also helped PennDOT and DP put together a stakeholder group to form a new specification for the CRM spec, the crumb rubber modifier specification, which I think now is a full specification. It's no longer provisional. And that has helped the industry quite a bit. Basically, all parties came to the table and agreed to a certain specification, and PennDOT agreed to it. And as far as I know, it's being used today. Down to compost and mulch, we're working with Philadelphia's Fairmont Park compost facility. We're trying to get them to get on the Bolton 15 list for approved materials. Not many compost facilities in District 6, from what I understand. So they have a lot of material available, and we're trying to get that material approved. The problem with meeting the spec is they make a small size mulch, and I think the spec requires a little bit bigger particle size. So that's the main issue with that project. Moving down to plastics, we've helped Kettle Creek Corporation, who makes trash and recycling receptacles made from 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. And we helped them get some of their units in some of the PennDOT rest areas. And then finally, the recycled asphalt shingles, or RAS. Currently, the PennDOT spec allows for pre-consumer RAS, which are rejects from manufacturing and the plant scrap itself. So it's a much cleaner stream of material versus what they're trying to get approved now, which is post-consumer shingles that come off of buildings. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of issues with contamination and performance with an old shingle versus a newly manufactured one. So again, we're working with stakeholders. There already has been one meeting with a RAS producer and the PennDOT staff. We met at the laboratory, and so that's encouraging that we're moving forward with that project. And that's all I have for that, and I'll turn it back over to Winnie.
Thank you. Okay, yes. And so when it comes to PennDOT recycling opportunities, we encourage both, from the technical civil engineering projects for construction and maintenance materials, as well as any municipal activities, either, your regular trash that you're throwing into your blue containers or your gray containers or green, however they're designated at your particular area. All our waste basically ends up on the three groupings of either end up with a municipal or residual or hazardous waste. Now we can recycle or, reintroduce the material to our activities if it's a municipal or residual waste, which you would then need a co-product determination. Your products would have to meet a co-product determination or a beneficial use permit use, right? But because we always try to avoid bringing or reintroducing any hazardous material. We already have enough problems with that. So municipal and residual waste we can do. Hazardous is a no-go. And so here are a couple of the recyclable materials that I've seen either being recycled or in one or another being reused in projects or in maintenance activities, which include plastic, metals, paper, organics, so compost around some of the vegetation around our buildings, glass material, which I know we had glass pipe bedding, implementation in a project a couple years ago, we'd always do our best to recycle our electronics, which is our, toner-related items, computers, or any of those small electronics we might have around. Batteries, we do have a continuing battery program. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or contact me here at Central Office. And also rubber or tire material, we have done a lot of projects on those, and I know we're continuing to do chrome rubber or rubber materials projects throughout the state. Next. With regards to data tracking, it's important not only for us to recycle, but it also counts very beneficially for PennDOT as a Commonwealth agency to track. And I think this is the part that we have not been so good at in the past. And so I know through the upcoming SEMP EMS, Strategic Environmental Management Program, Environmental Maintenance System, which is a compliance tool that we'll be rolling out shortly. You've probably heard about it down, through the grapevine. Through that tool, we will include a data tracking tool, which will be an access database, and we'll be using that to track our recycled materials as well as our waste data. So that should be rolling out shortly. I know in the past I have typically sent out Excel spreadsheets to the project managers for the districts to track their previous year's use of recycled materials, which included like your project number, your location, material use, and quantities if available. Now, for the waste identifiers in your quantities of materials collected, in the past I've sent out to the district SEMP managers and biannual, so every other year, I usually do a waste audit questionnaire, which they complete and send in. And for that, we're now transitioning to the DGS/DEP SurveyMonkey tool, which in correlation to the data tracking tool that we're sending out, as long as our data tracking tool, our internal method is filled out correctly, that should make it much easier for folks in the districts and the counties to be able to submit the information to the SurveyMonkey reporting tool. And so I've included a link there for your convenience if you like to go check it out. If you or somebody who is reporting to you, if that's something that they're supposed to be using, this is a FYI, heads up, please be aware of it. We're supposed to be reporting quarterly to DGS through the SurveyMonkey tool on our recycling and waste management characteristics, so that's definitely important. Again, quick reminder, all our waste must be handled by a contracted vendor through DGS contracts. They must be handled by contracted vendors. I know sometimes, every now and then, I get questions about, am I allowed to, allow this company, to take my waste, and I remind people, we are responsible for it, from the moment we give it to them, and even to its end result, we are still responsible for it. So if you're going to hand over your waste to an entity, make sure they're a DGS, they're a contracted vendor, and they're approved for operations with us. And make sure you get your waste manifest, and if they're billing you, make sure in the invoice or somewhere in their documentation you have your quantities and your ending location as well. Also, here's a quick heads up on your waste tire permit compliance requirements. If you are dealing with waste tires at all, be it through the annual cleanup activities or just on a county site or district office site, if you have any waste tires, always make sure that if you're handing them off or using an authorized waste hauler to take it to the receiving facility to be recycled or disposed of. And always keep all your documentation on that, because at the end of the year we need those to do our reporting to DEP. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to give me a call or email. Next. Another tool that we have available to us to track not only internally but also if external vendors can use this tool. It's the something happened.
I put up the website.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Didn't tell you. Can you see that?
Kinda. Yes, I see something.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, on the Recycled Material Web Map, it was a tool that was created by the RMRC, Recycled Materials Resource Center, out of University of Wisconsin-Madison. And this is available not only to us as PennDOT personnel, but even, private entities, anywhere you are in the United States. You can go in here, you can log in either just as a general user, or if you have information to put in, you can request access as a systems modifier person, and you can go in here, and if you're looking for a particular material or you'd like to post your materials so that if you're trying to get rid of it, especially you can find people around you who if they're looking for the same material, they could come find you on this mapping tool, and it's a way to also help you get rid of your waste material that could be recycled. Yay, win-win for us. And so it's pretty user friendly, and if you need training on it, if you're thinking of using it, we do offer training, and RMRC offers training, and we'll be glad to help you get used to that. So yeah, so anywhere they have a facility, it'll pop up with a little icon. You can hover over it or click on it, and it'll give you detailed information on that particular facility. And the good thing I know for us PennDOT is you can, if you tend to get a lot of materials, so let's say wrap or fly ash or something, or glass or any material that could be recycled, you can put it. You can say in your features, I have these materials, but you don't necessarily have to put the quantity of it, because I know sometimes it could get into some legal concerns over putting out quantities and having them for over a certain period of time. So that could trigger some environmental issues. So you can make available what you have, but not without necessarily having to put the quantity that you have, which is, I'm sure it's good not only for us PennDOT, but also for the private vendors who may not necessarily want to give out all the information. Thank you. Back to the PowerPoint.
We hope. There we go.
Yay. Yes, so I've included the link there. Next. And so at the end of the day, people always asking, like, why do you have to do all this? And the quick and simple answer is Act 101.88. Is basically the nail in which we hang all our activities. Why the SRP exists? Why do we always keep following up on all these documentation requests, information requests? And it's important. It's important for us to remain compliant with our Commonwealth agency requirements for environmental regulatory requirements. And if you'd like to read it, feel free, go ahead. But basically, it requires us to establish and implement a source separation and collection program for recyclable materials as a result of our agency operations to the maximum extent practicable. So that's a lot of legal speak there at the end. But at the end of the day, it just requires us to have a program that encourages and enhances and continues to implement the use of recycled materials throughout our agency activities. Next. And here are a few DP references, and I've also included the new PennDOT SRP website. I know if some people every now and then they look up the SRP website. It has moved with the migration to our new, revamped PennDOT website. I have included the link there for you. So if you have any questions on, what's the SRP doing, what are our current projects, or just contact me, I have included a link there to our website. And also I've included a few other links that are pertinent to what the SRP does. We have the Recycling Management Directive, which kind of did a lot of the legwork for requiring us to revamp what we're doing here through central office and what we just, spaced out to the districts on what we are required to do regulatorily since the end of 2014, calendar year 2014. So this has been an ongoing process of getting people on board with, recycling, the SRP program, and how you, as project managers, as materials engineers, how you can be involved and also help save money along the way. Next. Right. As we continue talking about money, people are always asking, well, how do I know if I can get any funding assistance? So this is the two things I would like to make very clear. It either has to be a new product, right, or a new process for research. If your aim is to request research grant type funds, it has to be a new product or a new process. So, although I know we've done crumb rubber before, but if it's a new process for crumb rubber or a rubber material, that's easier to sell to DEP for grant approval than going back and requesting for a project that we've done 6 times already, that they're funded and we've already set up demonstration projects. So again, as long as you have a new product or a new research idea for a process that we have not used before, those two things kick you into the opportunity to get funding assistance from DEP for recycled material use in a project. The other thing that we usually fund for is demonstration projects. So if we're trying to implement a product or a material or process in our construction or maintenance activities that we traditionally don't use, the SRP can assist in getting new funds to help do a demonstration project to show that, yes, this product works, or maybe we need to do a bit more research. And on that note, be aware, keep in mind we're always looking for new research ideas to share with our partners. And so if you have, if you see something, if you read in your publications something cool, interesting that you think could be of benefit to PennDOT's activities, that use it, which also uses recycled materials, we welcome that and we encourage you to reach out to us. You can reach out to me here at Central Office, Winnie O'Kello. I have my contact at the end of the PowerPoint, and we'll be glad to also share with our partners, our Recycling Market Center, as well as the RMRC. So you ask, how do I request for funding? And so again, you contact me or the SRP manager at hand, and there's no specific time frame throughout the year that you can do this. You can do this all year round. Just send me an email, say, hey, I have, I was thinking about requesting for this, particular material, project use, research, process evaluation, demonstration project, whatever that may be, and I will send you the most updated funds request form. And the form basically requests you to, state what material you're being evaluated on, what material you're trying to use, your contact person for the project, amount requested, and you must include a project work plan, which would include your anticipated total project amount, as well as the amount that you're requesting, as well as any post-construction monitoring and reporting requirements. And so basically this, the post-construction monitoring requirements is basically a way for us to be able to stay on top of, the projects that we have approved and to see how well these materials or processes are working. Because we want to make sure that if we're funding a project, we want to follow it through and say, yes, this works, or no, it doesn't, or it could work if we change X, Y, Z. And again, that might bump you into a new project in collaborative effort with other districts or neighboring districts or stuff like that. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep SRP in mind and reach out, and we could see how we could work together. Next. As I mentioned earlier, we have 3 projects coming up. I believe 2 in District 10, 1 in District 11, Allegheny County. And all 3 are hot in place recycling projects, which is an in situ process for reusing your pavement material and making it all brand new and saving you money along the way. And with these 3 projects, these are the only 3 hot in place recycling projects that are being funded currently by DEP through the Strategic Recycling Program here at Central Office. And if you need more detailed information on that, I know the technical lead expert on those 3 projects for the work plan is Chevy Little out of the PennDOT lab here at Lab Lane, or you can call me and I could forward you some information on that as well. And so, yeah, next, please. So that pretty much brings us up to the conclusion of our webinar. If you have any questions, now is a good time to ask.
Yeah, like I said before, if we do have a question, put it in the dialog box and we'll see if we can answer it. I don't see any yet. No questions? Okay, well, I guess we'll end the webinar. Yeah, this webinar has been recorded, so we can have this made available. What we do is we edit it and put it on our YouTube channel, and we can provide you the link to view it at your leisure, and we can also provide a copy of the PowerPoint too. So 2 ways to keep this presentation as a reference. And in the meantime, if you have questions later on, just feel free to give Winnie or myself a call. Thank you for attending. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your attention, and maybe we'll see you next time for another training session. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.